Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with the SmackDown review for the 17th of December 2021. Yet again with SmackDown, can't believe this is a national television program, but it's WWE and they don't really care, so why should I, right? Anyway, they do have at least one good angle on the show and one good match, although the match pairings are weird and, to be completely honest, um, I think with it being December in professional wrestling, notorious for being just kind of a throwaway month, for lack of a better term. Anyway, this is the Roman Reigns return, which is where the good angle comes from. Paul Heyman is waiting backstage near the entrance for Roman Reigns, and Pat McCaffrey basically says that Heyman and Reigns didn't speak to each other all week. How does he know this? Hate when announcers are made to look stupid. Sasha Banks and Toni Storm defeating Charlotte Flair and Shotzi Blackheart 18:55. Good match. Good to see a match start things instead of a long promo. The match tells a good story, although the alliance between the two teams is kind of weird. Banks then makes her entrance at the start of SmackDown. Storm, the only one to not get an entrance. They recap Flair attacking Storm last week, which I'd completely forgotten about in the last 7 days. Michael Cole tries to push that Storm is frustrated. Flair is a bit distracted. They start off slowly. Storm locking onside headlock. Shotzi breaks free and gets a head scissors on. Storm escapes. Shotzi then goes after the arm, but Storm fights back with a boot to the side of the head. Storm Banks sets Shotzi up, send her into the ropes. She tags Flair. Banks catches Flair with a Rana and a hard chop to gain control. Storm then tags in, but Flair rocked her with a forearm. Jane quickly takes her over. Then she knocks Banks off the apron with a kick to the face, and then Storm drops Flair face first for near fall. Shotzi breaks up the pin attempt. Shotzi then tosses Storm. Back from the break, the faces were firmly in control. They have double back elbow on Shotzi for a 2 count. Storm and Banks isolate Shotzi on the side of the ring. Banks then knocks Flair off the apron. Shotzi then takes advantage and hits the discus clothesline. Shotzi then holds Banks and Flair rocks her with a hard chop. Flair then throws Banks into the barricade. Flair slowing the pace down with a chin lock because we need those. Then the fans break into a loud "Let's go Shotzi" Sasha chant, rather. Banks breaks free, but Flair hits tilt-a-whirl backbreaker for a near fall. Shotzi misses a splash in the corner. Storm gets a hot tag. Storm goes nuts and backs Shotzi into her corner. Shotzi and Flair work together and beat down Storm for the next several minutes. Back from another break, going through 2 breaks because we don't care about pacing. Banks then gets a hot tag. Flair goes for him. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker again, but Banks counters into a crossbody for near fall. Flair and Banks traded in the middle of the ring. Banks then rolls Flair up into near fall, followed by a bulldog, and then Banks climbs top rope, but Storm makes the tag. Flair avoids Banks and throws her out to the floor. Storm then hits a flying crossbody and a near fall. Fans pop for that, and most people are convinced that's the finish, but it's not. Flair then goes for moonsault, but Storm rolls out of the way. Flair lands on her feet and then goes for a standing moonsault. Storm then gets her knees up, and Storm then rolls up Flair for the win. Fans pop up for the finish, and the commentators make a big deal out of Storm pinning Flair. Hopefully that doesn't mean that that's going to happen continually, because Charlotte Flair is, in my opinion, heads above Toni Storm in the way that Storm has been positioned. King Xavier Woods sits on the throne backstage. Kingston and the roster chant his name. New Day then challenges the Usos to a match tonight. Why are they doing this if they're doing it at day 1? The Usos agreed and promised to beat the New Day tonight and at day 1. They recap Xia Li debuting, helping Naomi against Sonya Deville, Natalya, and Shayna Basler. Megan, the interviewer, interviews Natalia backstage. Natalia's angry that Lee jumps her. They recapped Bobby Lashley earning his way into the WWE Championship match at day one. The Viking Raiders defeated Jinder Mahal and Shanky in 4:49 in a match that probably could have gone half that length and been more palatable. Match drags in the middle. Michael Cole said this is a very important tag team match, but he doesn't bother to tell us why. They start the match during the commercial break, so it can't be that important, can it? Back from the break, the Raiders are in control. Heels take over for a little bit. Side slam on Eric is what gets them there, and they go for a near fall. Heels isolate Eric on their side of the ring for a little while, slowing the pace down with the dreaded chinlock of doom. Eric then breaks free, and Ivar gets the hot tag. Ivar goes nuts and hits a crossbody on Jinder Mahal. Ivar attacks Shanky, but then it has no effect. Ivar avoids Mahal. And with a cartwheel, Eric then slams Ivar into Mahal. They recap Drew McIntyre pulling the sword through Adam Pearce's desk after the match. Eric, though, gets taken out by Mahal with a suplex, and Ivar hits a diving splash on Shanky for the win. Viking Raiders used to be something they are not, treated with much respect here now. Anyway, they recap that. Happy Corbin has the sword. Paul Heyman still waiting for Roman Reigns at the entrance. Heyman is excited when a car pulls up and Brock Lesnar steps out of the car. Huge pop. Lesnar guessed that Heyman was waiting for Reigns and wished him luck. Happy talk. Then this segment is horrible. Corbin notes that they've added a new piece of decoration, which is the sword. They claim to fans are so bored with this, they're chanting CM Punk. Pat McCaffrey says they're chanting "We want love." He agrees he wants love too. Well, then you probably got to work for a different company other than WWE. Corbin praises Moss and gives him the sword as a gift. Moss tries to pull it out. They can't pull it out. Drew McIntyre comes out. He pulls out the sword. He runs off the heels that no one cares about, makes fun of Corbin and Moss for being, well, horrible. McIntyre beats down the heels, pulls the sword out, and the sword's back in his control. In the back, Sami Zayn approaches Adam Pearce, and Sonya Deville points out that he hasn't had a rematch for the Intercontinental title in the year since he lost it, or something like that. Anyway, they point out he's not wearing a neck brace, and he says his lawyer, he means doctor, told him he didn't have to. Zayn starts complaining that he didn't get the rematch, and that next week there'll be a 12-man gauntlet because it's a holiday edition and no one's going to care about the show anyway. Ridge Holland with Sheamus defeats Cesaro 2:59. Cesaro and Holland had a, I guess, good match for 3 minutes. Anyway, McCaffrey mentioned that Shad Khan getting rid of Ubin Meyer, and why they did that, we have no idea. During the match, Sheamus distracts Cesaro, and Holland attacks and injures his ribs. Hits him with a Billy Club. Doctor and referee checked on Cesaro during the break. Back from the break, Holland jumps Cesaro at the bell. Hits a backbreaker for a near fall. Holland then slows the pace down with an abdominal stretch. At least it's on the chinlock, and Cesaro fights back with a suplex. Cesaro then gains control, knocks Holland to the floor. Sheamus causes a distraction, allowing Holland to take advantage with a power slam, getting a victory. In the back, Drew McIntyre walks around looking for Corbin and Moss, and everyone's glad he didn't find them. Naomi and Shayna Basler have a 30-second match. It's more of an angle to further Naomi's feud with Sonya Deville. Naomi has her Christmas list and notes that all she wants is a match with Deville. Deville then orders the referee to start the match. Basler attacks the leg and continues to beat her down. Suddenly, Naomi rolls up Basler for a quick win. Naomi and Deville have a stare down, and ultimately that's where we go. In the back, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss are hiding from Drew McIntyre. Corbin announces that McIntyre takes on Moss at day one. Moss didn't seem to like that idea. We've basically turned Drew McIntyre, who was on top of things when the pandemic started a couple years ago, into an opening match to second match fodder. Anyway, non-title match, New Day defeats SmackDown champions Usos in 8:30 in a non-title match. I guess it's fine. Michael Cole clarifies that this is a non-title match, which obviously no one really cares about. Kofi Kingston hits the SOS early on Jay for near fall. Usos take over, isolate Kingston. In their corner, Jimmy slows the pace down with, you get it, Chinlock of Doom. Kingston then attempts to make a tag, but Jimmy pulls him back in. Kingston escapes and has a super kick on Jimmy. Kingston then makes a tag, but the referee didn't see the tag. Usos regain control and they go to the break. Back from the break, Kingston fights back and fights Woods off. Hot tag Woods. Woods goes nuts and then rolling DDT on Jay. He knocks down Jimmy, knocks him to the floor, follows up with a sliding drop kick through the ropes. Woods then hits a leg drop off the top rope for near fall. Kingston then tags back in, goes for the SOS again, but Jimmy escapes. Jimmy avoids the Trouble in Paradise, hits a super kick. Jay then goes for the splash, but the referee didn't see that. Didn't see the tag either. Stands up, and Jay then manages to go that way. And Woods knocked him to the floor. Jimmy yells, and they make the tag. The referee didn't care. Kingston then his Trouble in Paradise for the win. Roman Reigns arrives. Anyway, Roman calls out Heyman. Probably the best thing on the show in months. Reigns then comes to the ring with the Usos. Paul Heyman, the fans break into a Lesnar chant. Reigns then notes that he doesn't like it when his cousins lose, but they're still family. Heyman, however, isn't family. He wondered if he could trust Heyman, and the fans pop at this. Reigns then has some questions that he thought he got answers to already. He asked Heyman if he knew Brock Lesnar would be at SummerSlam and Madison Square Garden. Fans chanted, "You screwed up," and then Reigns asked Heyman if special advisor or advocate, and Heyman then goes on to respond. Reigns asks why Heyman is protecting Lesnar from him. Heyman admits he's not. He's protecting Lesnar from Reigns. He's actually protecting Reigns from Lesnar. The fans pop for this. And then Reigns is furious, but he hugs Heyman and told him he loves him. He thanked Heyman for his 40 years of service to the family, but he fired him. The fans pop big for this. Reigns fires Heyman. Suddenly, Reigns nails Heyman with a Superman punch to a huge reaction. Reigns is about to give Heyman the concerto, but Brock Lesnar's music hit. Lesnar runs down the ringside, beats down the Usos. Lesnar gives him the F5. Jimmy hits a super kick, and Lesnar brushes off the super kick and gives Jimmy the F5. Fans break into a Suplex City chant. Lesnar then jumps in the ring. Reigns hits him with a chair. Lesnar absorbs the shot. Lesnar hits the F5 on Reigns, and then celebrates the Christmas Eve edition of SmackDown that no one will watch. Will feature SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair defending against Toni Storm, and also 12-man gauntlet match for number one contendership to the Intercontinental title. But hey, it's the holiday season, and do something nice for yourself. Skip these shows. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.